All right, you heard it from our technical guests about all the stocks you need to watch out for. Now let's get some F&O cues as well. Shubham Agarwal, the CEO and Head of Research at Quantsapp Advisory, joins in now to give us his views. Shubham, good morning. How are you positioned on the Nifty today, and what would be the individual stocks that you're looking at?
Hi, good morning. So if you look at the overall view for Nifty, I think it's a liquidity driven rally, and the concerns that dollar index is headed lower is, I think, what is bringing the funds to India, and that is intact. And even if you look at the VIX index, the VIX has been pretty stable. So most of the data points are indicating that the trend in the Nifty is still positive, and especially on the bank Nifty, which has been doing well for quite some time. So with that, I have a all buy list. The first buy call is on Divi's Lab, and we have seen that the pharma index, most of the pharma stocks for the last 4 to 5 trading sessions on the derivative data has been witnessing activity, and especially Divi's Lab is quoting at a new high on a price point. So there's a good possibility that we might see a breakout coming in there. So a 3800 strike call option can be bought for a target of 105 with a stop loss at 68. The second buy call is on Hero MotoCorp, where I guess some auto news is due. But if you look at the data point before that, the stock was consolidating for quite some time, but now we have a price breakout in place. So a 3200 strike call option for Hero MotoCorp can be bought for a target of 120 with a stop loss at 80. And lastly, a buy call on Hindustan Unilever. So this stock has not been performing for quite some time. But if you look at the derivative data for the last 3-4 day trading sessions, that has now started becoming positive, and the stock is quoting at a very important support area. So I see a mean reversion happening in Hindustan Unilever. So a 2200 strike call option can be bought for a target of 50 with a stop loss at 32.
Okay, thank you very much, Shubham. Have a great trading day. Actually, all our advisors have gone big on FMCG and consumption. Today, you know, Shubham had HUL. Mitesh had, I think, Britannia, right? And Tata Consumer. I think Rajat also had Bata and Tata Consumer. Sudarshan had Pidilite. So everyone's going on consumption. Well, we'll come to you all in a minute. Let me get to Deepan. Deepan, thank you very much for your patience. Well, first up, I just wanted to know the mood. I mean, these peak margins, will that be a deterrent in the first few days of this month? As well, Morgan Stanley balancing is behind us. Should we be prepared for some consolidation?
Yeah, I think so, Lata, you hit the nail on the head. I think the markets also run up significantly in the last series. So some sort of a sideways consolidation, maybe even a mild correction should certainly be factored in. And maybe the first few trading sessions, there could be teething trouble with regards to implementation of peak margin. They will get ironed out soon, but it could have a marginal impact on trading volumes as well. So yes, I think also we're getting into a slightly holiday season with a lull as far as information flows are concerned. After the RBI policy today, there's nothing to look forward to in terms of news flow till the earnings season starts in January. So you could expect softer trading trends for the next 2-3 weeks or so, and that's perfectly fine. I think it gives time to think and plan for the next year and see how you can strategize your portfolio for what could be a very good 2021.
Oh, hey, all right. So just take a little easy, soak in, bask in the gains that you would have made, and then get ready for 21. That's nice advice. They've been coming back to you for more questions in a bit. But let's quickly get a corporate conversation going. Now, logistics stocks, of course, have been buzzing off late. Mahindra Logistics is one of them. The company has seen a pickup in business. To discuss this and more, we have the management now joining in. Ram Praveen Swaminathan, MD and CEO of Mahindra Logistics, is with us. Mr. Swaminathan, good to have you on the show. You know, before I get into specifics of your business, first things first, and this is what all viewers also would want to know, do you cater to pharmaceuticals as a sector right now? And if yes, would you be participating in the transportation and storage of this vaccine that we've all been waiting for? What are the low temperatures and the minus temperatures that your network can right now sort of accommodate?
Yeah, so I think, so good morning and thank you for having me over. Yes, we do work quite extensively in the pharma sector, and right now we are in the midst of talking to multiple pharma companies and other kind of stakeholders to evolve, a support mechanism, right, to support the COVID vaccine program. There are multiple vaccines which are being talked about, and obviously a range of temperature control requirements. The real challenge, I think, on supporting the vaccination program is is across the value chain. So there is, international movement, right, and cross-border movement, right, opportunities or work. There is obviously a huge amount of effort which is required in what we'd call the first mile or the mid-mile, which is transportation from plants, still, and local unit. And of course, there is last mile support which is required. Different implications, I think, across the value chain, Lata. So we are working right now with stakeholders to evolve kind of response program on each of those. And we do hope to obviously participate and support what I think is very critical to get India back, back on the road again.
Okay, morning, Mr. Swaminathan. Therefore, if you can tell us at what stage all this will be called up for, if you're speaking with the authorities. And what is the scale also? I mean, how much will it increase your volume of business by?
Well, to be honest, I think we are, there's still a lot of moving parts and shifting sands here. So I think, as you've seen in the press as well, the multiple announcements in terms of actually when vaccines will be ready. There's still a lot of work which has to be done in terms of understanding what large-scale availability of these vaccines will be. So I think given all the moving parts, it's hard to kind of put some very clear markers in play. So we are just essentially doing scenario building right now and working across multiple possibilities and kind of getting ready along with with partners for it. Obviously, temperature control capability, both in terms of warehousing and transportation, is going to be a very critical element or a critical enabler for it. And I think we'll really start seeing some scale up probably, if based on how announcements are. You're still probably going to start seeing scale up probably in early next financial year, right? Though that's still, as I said, a lot of moving parts still in terms of what may happen. A very important thing also is actually ensuring that there's a strong chain of custody and you have the right technology infrastructure to support the vaccine data and actually be able to kind of map that and manage it across the supply chain. So beyond the physical infrastructure, we're also working with technology partners, including within the Mahindra Group, to evolve kind of the right technology platform. Which can be used, to support the program. But I'd say earliest, my best estimate right now is the earliest we really like to see real action is probably, the first half or the early part of next financial year.
Okay, early part of next financial, so April perhaps. Mr. Swaminathan, at the moment you all have a cold chain. How low a temperature can you support?
We essentially have a series of bespoke facilities, so we don't really manage a cold chain network as such. What we do is we essentially create bespoke infrastructure, right, for specific customers, and we have a range of warehouses which support specific requirements which several pharma companies whom we work with require. We have the ability to add to those capacities. In fact, we are working on that right now. We do have GMP and GDP certified facilities as well, because certification, right, and compliance is a very important important requirement. In terms of transportation assets, as an asset-light company, we don't actually own any of our transportation assets, but we do have partners who actually have those assets. I think there is, in all fairness, a significant amount of infrastructure build-up which needs to get done. And therefore,
that's not what we were trying to ask, sir. Get that point. We were simply trying to ask. We all know, that the first vaccine required a -70 temperature, and we all know that that's probably not conducive for India. So we're just trying to understand that when you get going with these facilities, what kind of temperature ranges do you think your network can support?
I think right now, the plan level, if you're applying to say how we can support active and passive temperature control up to probably around -20 degrees. I think that's something is what we are trying to kind of build out and look at how we can plan infrastructure for.
So will you be putting any capex to work in order to sort of increase your capacity of cold storages, or will it just continue to be these bespoke, facilities that you just spoke about?
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned earlier, we're an asset-light company for the large part. So we essentially we don't really invest in warehousing or transportation assets directly, but we are right now working with partners who will actually put those assets up.
all right, now let's move out of COVID and, I mean, as in vaccine transportation, and generally ask you about business. What is the volume of business in Q3 compared to Q3 last year? After all, we have finished 2 months of this quarter.
Yes, I think we saw, I mean, Q3 is just consolidating the improvement, the recovery we saw in Q2. So I think, we are continuing to see that positive momentum. Obviously, we've had a festive season, which has been a big positive fillip as well. Last quarter, our supply chain business was actually up year on year, not just sequentially, but up year on year. And the non-auto businesses were up 17%, overall up by around 7%. So we are seeing that acceleration continues to be there in the third quarter as well. We are seeing obviously a broad-based recovery driven by consumption. I think the farm sector still remains, pretty strong for us, in this quarter. And obviously the festive season has kind of added a significant impetus for us. Where we are seeing the largest growth obviously continues to be in consumption-driven segments, in e-commerce, in FMCG, durables, and electronics. We are seeing